Okay, so next steps in the design are you're now going to start planning out and creating a technical drawing of this plate. Now you can use the drafting machines, and I can mount one to your table. But if you're at home or you're wanting to do this in async time, you can also borrow one of these rolling rulers, which is quite handy. They're a really good device. They're not as accurate as a technical drawing drafting machine, but they do work really well. If you set it up onto the edge of your paper like this, really carefully, you can then roll it and it will create parallel lines for you, which is quite useful for doing multiple jobs. What I would suggest is use either like a 2H pencil or a technical pencil to start this all off. So if you recall, we were going to talk about scale, and scale means that you've got to try and fit an entire plan view of your plate and also maybe a side view of your plate onto one sheet. Now the plate itself could be almost the size of this piece of paper. So then what you've got to do is think, okay, well, if I want the entire thing to be, let's say 12 inches long or 12 inches around, that means in reality, I'm going to make my object 6 inches. Or if we're going to use centimeters, I want it to be 30 centimeters long. And so in reality, if I draw it half size, it will be 15 centimeters long, right? Not rocket science, but anyway. So to start off with, if we're just going to do this kind of quickly, just to start figuring out some dimensions, what you want to do is sort of come in a little bit from the edge of the paper so that we're not drawing right to the edge. And then set up and create, first off, kind of a bit of an L shape. Then we have our parameters, and I'm going to measure off 15 centimeters, which is here. And then I draw a line down here, and I can draw a line across here. And then if we're doing a technical drawing of a plan view and then a front view or a side view down here, we would need to put in a gap so that the two do not touch. Obviously, if you're coming from last year, then you will know exactly what I'm talking about because you've done this 100 times. But anyway, some people do not. Now, that's the beginning. That's the sort of the height. Again, it's half size. So in reality, it would be more like this size, but we're drawing it half size. And then the width is your plate going to be square or kind of round, or is it going to be rectangular, which a lot of plates are, maybe it's a bit wider than it is taller. So you need to kind of figure this out. So by going to a degree of accuracy now, if I was to, I also might start thinking about putting in a center line. And a center line is drawn like this. And what this does, this helps us figure out if there's going to be any circles in this, where the circle is going to be, or where we would mount the circle. So see here, I'm going to do another center line here, and I'm marking this with a center line. And okay, and then if I wanted to round it, I've now got a point that I can put the middle in here, and then I can open up my compass, and as long as the ruler has been accurate, I'm able to create a line to show how the object is looking from that side, if I'm going with that. Now, I might think, okay, well, I also want to, and this is the design part, I want to have, it's actually gears. So I'm going to put in a gear here, and I want to have another one up here so that this gear fits into that one. And then I'm going to have another smaller gear that's maybe here and here. And this gear is going to overlap that gear. And we'd need to show like where the gears are going to interconnect. So then you might put in, and you might even kind of carefully, we could go around and we could figure out the the teeth of it. And so we go around the outside and we could work out from the circumference what it is divided by however much, and you'll have to get into some good math for that one. But anyway, we can kind of start drawing in teeth around the outside. And again, this is going to be a bit of a challenge if you're going to do it completely random. But, and then on the other side, this would be the teeth on this side. But you'll just have to make sure that those teeth will actually kind of connect. Do you see? Generally, teeth have, it's wider at one side and it goes narrower. Now, I also want to show where the middle of this circle is. So based on my lines from over here, do you see I can now sort of match the two. So this is your sort of basic looking down on the object. Then from the sideways, what we can then do is we can say, well, the plan or the side view is going to go in this space down here. So what I then need to do is think about, well, what thickness is the whole object going to be? So let's say I say it's going to be 4 centimeters thick, because, so remember, this is all half size. So I'm going to put it on a block of wood for a start. And the block of wood is going to be maybe even a little bit bigger. So I'll make it a little larger than, and you see, so there's a certain amount of development as well. And then I can take lines down to show elements that are happening below it. So that's the edge of the large circle. We can continue the center line down for that one. And now we're beginning to see where the plate is here. Okay, and then I would have that out a little bit more. And then I could take these lines upwards and that line upwards. And then using my compass, I can draw in the wooden element of this. There we go, like that. And so from this, what we're now able to achieve is now we're achieving that we're getting an actual plan of what we need to construct. Do you see? So if this was my plate, this is my burgers, this is my fries, I might want this cog to be taller so I could draw that in. But I've got a plan view and a side view, so I'm understanding how the whole thing is beginning to start looking. Do you understand that? And it's accurate. This is exactly half the size that I want it to be. And I did this using just a rolling ruler and a compass and a pencil and some figuring out as I'm going along. And maybe you might have a couple of goes at this because it didn't work out quite how you were thinking. But if you're doing cogs, that's kind of tricky. We can use the compass in here as well. So if you wanted a 45-degree line, there is a compass here, and I could set up, okay, I need a 45, I need a 30-degree line, so I set that up. So there is a 30-degree. So it is possible to even organize specific angles to do that. Obviously, if you're using a drafting machine, you can just click it around and get your angles that you need. But this is more of a, if you're working in async, you can take a ruler, you can create exactly what you're doing. Okay?